Hey everyone, and welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question comes to us from the True Stories collection, as in, it actually happened at an event I was actually judging. Amy activates Isochron Scepter while Nick controls Lavinia, Azorius, Renegade. Does Amy's copy of the imprinted card get countered? Okay, so the first thing that I want to do to answer this question is to carefully review the text of Isochron Scepter. And we can see that with this ability, you first copy the imprinted card, and then you cast the copy without paying its mana cost. Now, if Amy was copying a spell using something like this twin cast, Lavinia wouldn't care about that at all. We can see that twin cast does not include an instruction to cast the copy, and since casting a spell is what Lavinia's triggered ability looks for, that means that Lavinia's ability does not trigger at all. This is the same reason why Lavinia isn't very good against the storm mechanic. In contrast, Isochron Scepter really does have you cast the copy, and you're casting it without paying its mana cost. If you're wondering why there's a difference in how these cards function, I talked about that in my video on Galvanic Iteration plus Memory Deluge. Anyway, based on the information provided in the original problem statement, Lavinia's ability would trigger, and the Isochron Scepter copy would be countered. Unfortunately for Amy, paying 2 mana to activate Isochron Scepter to allow you to cast a spell isn't the same thing as actually spending 2 mana casting that spell. And that's all I have for you. Okay. Actually, I can't end it there because it turns out there's one more wrinkle with this situation, and it happens to be very relevant for a certain specific card people love to put on Isochron Scepter nowadays. So when you're casting a spell without paying its mana cost, you aren't paying any mana for its mana cost. Duh. But if there are any additional costs, you're still on the hook for those. And one consequence of this is that Altar's Reap isn't very good with Isochron Scepter because you would have to sacrifice a creature every time. Another consequence is that if the spell Amy had on that Isochron Scepter had kicker, like for example this Orm's Chant, and Amy wanted to kick it, she could do that. After all, the process for casting the copy works just like the normal process for casting a spell, including the part where you choose whether you want to pay any optional additional costs. But the without paying its mana cost would only apply to the 1 white mana that's an Orm's Chant's mana cost. If Amy wanted to kick the Orm's Chant, she would have to spend an additional 1 white mana to do that. Wait, hold on, did you catch that? She would have to spend 1 white mana to cast it. Mana spent to pay additional costs for a spell still counts as mana spent to cast that spell. Therefore, if Amy chooses to kick the Orm's Chant, she will end up paying 1 mana, meaning that she actually did have mana spent to cast that spell. The Lavinia wouldn't counter it. And that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling. Until then, I hope you have a great day.